started. And yeah,
Have you
let me.
posted it? I'm gonna reshare it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's take a minute to reshare it. So maybe we can even have a few live audience
Yeah.
among us. I'm gonna reshare it first on X and then on LinkedIn, so you could do the other way around. Let me see. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see if I found this. Uh, do you hear me well? Am I
Yep.
coming in
Perfect.
through? Yeah.
Yep.
So
I've just shared it
I
now,
do
so that's
see.
great.
Yeah. Let me see. So I do appear live, which that's good. Let me send you the broadcast link so that you can share it on your LinkedIn on your LinkedIn too.
Oh, I just shared the
Of
one you
course,
sent me already.
yeah, yeah, that's good for the audience that wants to chat.
Yep.
I'm now sending you the LinkedIn broadcast.
Oh yeah.
But if you log into my profile,
Hmm.
you'll see the live happening now, and that's the one you want to repost on LinkedIn.
I got it. I got it. Okay. Let me
Yes,
do that
yes.
now.
Of course, all all of this is once we get more into the live that side of things, we'll get all of that set as we go. Let me see. Do you see my profile if
Yeah.
we're live? Like, because I don't see that on I don't see that on LinkedIn. I do see the stream on 13 viewers. That's good. 13 views on
Awesome.
we haven't even started yet. That's super cool. Let me see. Okay. I'm gonna share with the Soundword community. All right. Well, I guess people will join as they join,
Yeah.
and we can get started, right?
Let's do it.
All right. So, creators, welcome back to a live. This is we're doing this live, so this is a live show of the Web3 Creators podcast, and with us, nonetheless, that Colin Fitzpatrick. He's now running a business development for Griffin AI. He was previously a founder of Animal Concerts, right? And
Yeah.
he's got a very, very interesting story to tell us. So let's get into your story, Colin. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. Thank you very much, and great to finally meet you.
Yes, yes, yes. We've been back and forth for a long time, and this is happening finally. So I'm very happy to
Yes.
have you here on the studio. Well, the virtual one, and happy to hear anything you got to say. We're at Bitcoin all time high, and although I want to be like I want to be accelerating, but it's like it's feeling like the fundamentally innovative altcoins, which is most likely what you're also what dragged you also to the space and me as well.
Hmm.
They're quiet. They're still not. There's not a lot of actions other than meme coins. What do you
Hmm.
think?
Yeah, this is a conversation that I have all of the time. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm a big Bitcoin guy. I'm a huge Bitcoin believer, and most of what I have is in Bitcoin. I kind of got out of a lot of the alts at the end of the last cycle, and I just consolidated into Bitcoin. But as a guy who has been a crypto founder before, I launched a project. Um, I suppose my background is 20 years in tech companies, Oracle, Salesforce, HubSpot, etc. Company guy, etc. Always maybe wanted to be an entrepreneur, but never really knew how it would happen. And I just
So
sort of
how
kind of
long were you in HubSpot and on?
Oh, almost 20 years combined. So I was in Oracle 12 or more years. I was a couple of years in
Wow.
Salesforce. I was a year in HubSpot, and then I was a good few years in Dell as well. So long time selling enterprise software, managing teams, stuff like that,
Yeah.
in big companies. And there's a massive, massive difference between working in a big company and working in a startup, as I'm sure most people know. But
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I loved the change. in a big company, you're a tiny cog in a massive engine, and in a startup, you wear many hats and you get to do an awful lot of things. So,
Mhm,
I mean, you
mhm.
see that meme, and it's just like, the hide the pain Harold guy who I met there a while ago, and it says, "I left my 9 to 5 job for a job in crypto. Now I work 24/7," and it really is like that because it's just it
Yeah,
never
yeah.
ends.
And you have
But you,
when you also work with a larger companies, a lot of times you have much more concrete deliverables. Where
mm,
whereas when you're going doing a startup or you're a founder, you always have stuff to do. You not always see the results, and even when you get to like the goal, there's always like there's the goalpost is always moving. Whereas I think where when you're working, when you have like a defined KPIs, and on a more bigger organization, you can like check off boxes and say, yes, I done this, I done that, and then the other, right?
yeah, exactly. It's just, I suppose what I don't miss is the formality and rigidity of the large corporates. Everything's around planning and reporting and things like that. I'm more of a doer, I suppose. So I
Mhm.
do like kind of that aspect, and just being able to getting a business off the ground is a lot of fun. It's very tough. It's extremely challenging and stressful as well, but it is very, very interesting. And I've done it a couple of times now. Just ideating a
Mhm.
business, trying to find product market fit, finding your first few customers, things like that. Really tough, but a wonderful experience. And, most fail. Most businesses do fail, but the ones that do well are spectacular success sometimes. And it's amazing being part of that. So I
Mhm.
getting back to your question, I launched a token in about 2020, 21, and we got into this not really knowing what we were doing, but we, made connections and hired great people and figured it out and launched a token to a 300 million market cap before the whole FTX thing collapsed and everything died. But it was a wonderful experience, and I'm doing it again
Well,
now in my
it's
current
also it's
company,
also a
Griffin.
huge it's also a huge success. Like
Mm,
sometimes, well, all tokens crashed, but getting to a large market cap, it speaks about rallying the people, getting a good product online, covering some at least some parts of the roadmap. So it does speak to good progress. So I
mm,
don't I as a founder, I reject the idea of if it's not a super successful multi-billion-dollar company, then it's a failure. So I
mm.
do like I think we should embrace those milestones that we get through the way, because it's what keeps us going. It's
Mm.
what allows you if you're going to start a new company, and you're going to found a new project, you have to feed on the milestones that you got to before,
Yeah.
to tell yourself, yes, I can do this.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things right now is that the market compared to the 2017 run, which I was first in, and then the 2021 run, it is remarkably different these days. Number one, you can't just raise millions of dollars on nothing but an idea and a white paper and some good intentions. You got to already show real product and traction and community and team and stuff like that. Um,
Mhm.
the other thing is that there's just so much competition now. There's so many projects trying to launch. I spoke
Yes.
to someone a little while ago that works for one of the top 5 exchanges. They said they're getting 300 applications a day to launch on Bybit. Okay. And that's 300
300
applications a
a
day.
day.
A
A day.
day. A day. That's what they're getting. That's how many projects are out there. You know what I mean? Now,
Mhm.
only a fraction of those get even slightly considered. But
And if
that's how
they're
much
applying
and
to Bybit, that means that they also have good capital to pay for those listing fees. So listing on
it's
those
yeah.
exchanges is not free. Like the minimum is like
Mm.
$30,000, and that's just for
Oh,
getting listed. If you're running with a like marketing campaign and you want to do an airdrop and you want some visibility on that exchange, according to the volume, that's going to cost you up to $1 million, like in Binance and
definitely.
KuCoins.
Definitely.
So
Yeah, and raising money is much harder now because VCs have been burnt in the past, and how many.
Mhm.
I think they were throwing around money like nothing a couple of years ago, and a lot of these investments didn't pan out. So from
Yes.
that perspective, they are much more cautious now. But I've spoken to a few VCs who are kind of going, look, we're just playing in the liquid market now because, well, why lock yourself in for a couple of years when I can just chuck it in Bitcoin and Solana and I'm going to have good returns? So
Yeah.
I'm
Or
kind of
even
skeptical.
projects, or even projects that have survived the bear market and that are
Mm,
now like almost fully in circulation. So you can get some of those projects liquid with no lockup, with no and they already have like a working product and you can see the trajectory. So I'm guessing that it's a very, very tough sale to coming with, as a
mm.
new project to the VCs.
Yeah, and the only thing that's really doing well these days, which we all hate, is meme coins. I don't know if you're, yeah, I think you're a hardcore DJ, but I do not trade meme coins. Did you see that one this morning from that quant guy, the 11-year-old kid who rugged
Yes.
for 30 grand? And
Yeah.
then he created another coin called Sorry and rugged that again so that they took the
Really?
original quant. And yeah, 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 that's what happened.
I didn't
Who's
know
going to
about the
buy?
story. I didn't.
Yeah, I'll send you a link. Go, or just look for it on X, okay, and you'll see it. He literally rugged, made himself 30 grand, was like nah 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 nah
I
nah to all the
that
kids.
part I know. That part I know.
Mm. So then he created another one going, I'm sorry. It was like dollar sorry. And then he rugged that for another 7 or 10K. And then the people went and they went back to the quant that he'd sold out of completely and they pumped it to a 7 million market cap. I
Yeah,
mean,
that I knew. That I knew. No, I think it was a 30 something market cap because his bag that he rugged for 30K would have been
mm.
worth like $4 million. So it was
Oh,
like
was it?
yeah, so it was like a 10% or more of the supply. So that means they pumped it to a 30-40 million dollar market cap, that quant thing.
Incredible.
But I'm still saying that, listen, people are undermining what $30,000 means for a 10-year kid, 12-year kid, right?
That's true.
So many kids now are going to go out there as a copycat mechanism and
Mm,
promising lots of crazy stuff. So I think meme coins are like a cultural phenomenon. It's undeniable at this point. I do have a bag of two or three meme coins that have
mm,
done good,
mm.
but the rest of it has cost me, not only capital but attention,
Mm.
and most of them, probably more than 30, have done nothing and gone to basically zero. So
Yeah.
the thing is that you get into a good meme coin, on a personal experience. Maybe I'm not a meme coin guy, right? I'm not Murad, but if you get a meme coin that does really well, you get to think that, oh, I'm really good at this. I get meme coins, I can do this.
Mm.
So that causes you to say, okay, let's allocate a larger portion of the portfolio to meme coins, get this into it, and then you start looking for the meta, looking for this, and you discount the
Yeah.
fact that there are thousands of meme coins being launched by the minute. So eventually this is a much more of a pump and dumpy scene, and you can really degrade your portfolio by getting to this. Not to mention the time allocation and the focus that this is taking from the space. So yes, all in all, I think from a fundamental base is not a positive. It's not a positive thing for our industry, but on a capital base, the hopes are that the new capital that is going being dragged into the space through meme coins will eventually
Yeah.
say, okay, let's look at this industry and let's see if
Mm.
there's more to it, right?
I think you're right, and that is definitely the hope. Whether that will happen exactly, I don't know. But look at what people like Saylor have been saying recently. I'm a big Michael Saylor fan. And he's basically going, look, to the TradFi people who don't get this, you know what I mean, and think Bitcoin is backed by nothing, blah, blah, blah. He's going, look, um, kids today, or even young adults today, they want a global digital currency, and they don't want to have to deal with all the difficulties of traditional finance. The biggest group of growing workers right now is digital nomads, and they're young guys who just like to travel around the world, working online and things like that. They don't want to be paid in Thai baht or Vietnamese dong or anything like that. Just, give me Bitcoin, give me a stable coin,
USDT.
and
That's I
yeah,
think
USDT is
the
amazing.
first the largest product the largest product that is undeniably found product market fit in our industry is USDT. Just
Correct.
that there's an undeniable proof, and I'm working and I'm using it for my outsourced and my own
Mm,
freelancers and outsourced
me too.
developers, and everyone's just send me USDT, who and even a lot of countries are can do PayPal, which is what we do, and then I'm in Israel, so we cannot do like Venmo. So even
Yeah,
those are like
yeah.
geolocated, whereas crypto
Mm,
is totally global.
mm,
So that's
mm.
an undeniable better product than what is being done today, and this is something that's being done today at a massive
Mm.
scale. Would you agree?
Well, I totally agree. And I think USDT and other stable coins are one of the great winners of this. Now, so I was hanging out with Brock Pierce there a little while ago. You know Brock, and
In Puerto
he
Rico, I we're friends. I helped him build Helios VC. I stayed with him at
ah
Puerto Rico, and I was as a founder of EOS Israel. I was really, we were
ah
really. I was really trying to um, help him push the space forward.
mm,
But unfortunately, I haven't heard from him in a while. I think he got really disappointed with what's been going on with EOS, and understandably so. I'm been disappointed as well. I spent most of my 5 to 6 years of my, like heart and soul and money into the an ecosystem that truly hasn't really shined. It
yeah,
does that hadn't even keep up with Ethereum, and it's not even kept up with the dollar. Like, it's really
no.
not really performing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but the Tether business model, which is swap the dollars for USDT and then invest them in T bills and in bonds and stuff, is amazing. I mean, these guys are absolutely creaming it. Have you seen the amount of profits they're making? It's mind
But for
bending.
doing what? What's the trade? What's the trade? Explain it in
So
like in kind.
when you give your $100 and they give you 100 Tether, they're keeping
Mhm.
that $100, but they're investing it in government bonds at 5%
Wow.
or something like that.
Right.
So I don't know how much they're holding, like $40 billion or something is the
Ah,
current
right. Like
float.
Tether the company. Tether the company.
Yes, Tether the
Nah,
company.
that's the biggest money printer in history. Like, they have the
Exactly.
money glitch. They
Mm,
have the money glitch. For
yeah.
every dollar yeah, for every USDT that's being issued, they're just printing the dollar out of thin air and making a percentage on real
Yeah.
dollars out of it. So it's a definite cash cow. And so is Circle and USDC, right?
Yeah, and I know the founder of Circle as well, Sean. I mean, it's incredible. It's one of those amazing things. But that's the thing. What people don't understand is that they think crypto is a scam and blah blah blah. But it's solving so many unbelievable problems for people in countries where their currency is collapsing. I'm a big Bitcoin guy, and I love the fact that people think Bitcoin uses too much energy. But when you look into it, Alex Gladstein's an amazing guy on this. Bitcoin is actually bringing electricity to the poorest parts of the world because it is the only thing that can consume electricity absolutely anywhere. And it makes it more viable to bring electricity into these rural villages and set up dams and things like that. It's an incredible story. But yeah, I mean, the Tether have the infinite money glitch, and now the new one is MicroStrategy. I just wrote about it yesterday. If you saw it,
Mhm.
um, I invested a fair chunk into MicroStrategy about maybe 3 months ago, and it has done extremely well. And I think this is only the beginning. Michael Saylor is a complete genius. A bit
Yeah.
Satoshi personified is what they call him, and he's
Yes.
figured out this thing whereby, well, my company's been dead for 10 years. I've done everything I can to resurrect it. We're just going to take the money we have that's bleeding out via inflation. We're going to buy Bitcoin. We're going to keep it and never sell it in our balance sheet, but we're going to actively trade it to grow it, which he's done at 23 or 25% or something like that. Then he's
Mhm.
gone out. Have you seen? He's got massive loans. He's just got a $4.2 billion loan convertible note at 0%. Who else can
Right.
borrow $4.2 billion at 0%? He's now swallowed up
Based
5% of the
on the
bond.
price, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
based on the price of the stock that is also
Uh,
going up because it's like a
yes.
leverage play on Bitcoin.
Mm,
So
mm.
it's like an infinite money glitch.
It's almost like an infinite money glitch. So, what happens when he's presenting to the board of Microsoft pretty soon to go, this is
Yeah.
how it's done. And what happens when, there's a few other companies. There's a great guy to follow called Dylan Leclerc in the Bitcoin space. He's amazing. And he works for one of the Japanese investment houses, and they've done the same. And they're like the best performing stock in the Japanese market now. Can't remember the name. There's a few other ones, and this is going to snowball now. I think 2025 is going to be an unbelievable year for for crypto, for Bitcoin, for AI, maybe politically as well. Seeing what Elon is going to do with Vivek Ramaswamy in the Department of Government Efficiency. I just saw today that
Doge.
Vivek is going to have a podcast weekly. He's going to talk about
Yeah.
everyone, and I saw Kevin O'Leary talking about this, whereby Elon has the ability to highlight, find these ridiculous uh, areas where the money's been spent, and then put it to the people on X and put it out there. Right? Is this one we think we should axe and get rid of it? And you know, um, millions of dollars being spent on the migration patterns of shrews in eastern Papua New Guinea. Come on, let's spend money a little better. So there's going to be some
Yeah.
very interesting things happening next year.
And I'm sure Doge is gonna pump only on the premise of this Doge. He's Elon is just undeniable. It's like something. It's a really a phenomenon of nature and science. Like it's
Mm,
truly like he creates these forks in civilization that is like imagine what would our society look like if had he not bought X today.
mm,
I think the election would have been different, right? Because we would still be in this hypnotized social media filtered stuff, and you know it's I don't know. I think it's truly
yeah.
something.
I don't know. I mean, I can't say I'm a huge Trump fan, but I think he's got less crazy and he's doing better things now. But I think it was a complete landslide, and I don't know. I think uh, with or without X, I think he still would have done pretty well. I mean, the mainstream media were slamming him for years, and it didn't seem to make any difference. So the people just want a change. They want something different. They want it to be shaken up, and that's what Elon's going to do for him for sure. I know he's got a lot of haters as well. I'm a huge Elon fan. I just can't see how you can't be in awe about what he's actually done. He runs 7 completely mind-bending transformational companies that even doing one of those things would be game changing and practically unheard of, and he's juggling 7 at the same time. I mean,
Yeah.
catching rockets at the size of a skyscraper with a pair of chopsticks, and plugging a computer into someone's brain so they can play video games when they're in a wheelchair.
Mm.
He's
Tesla, man.
he's
Tesla,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Tesla's now okay, electronic vehicles, but when they put out the robot, he's saying that there probably is going to be a like an AI bot, AI robot, helper robot in every home. So
Hmm.
that's gonna
There really
that's gonna
will.
be
There
also
will.
massive. Yeah.
because right now you're looking at these bots and they're a bit clunky and they're falling over and they're trying to, do something. But, you know, people think, oh, we're only 10% of the way there. No, we're like 80% of the way there. The last bit is just the training with all of the data. And suddenly these things are going to be able to do more and more. And you might have one and you
And
might
the
teach it.
railways, so that the you don't get an abusive owner, and then the AI bot eventually, doing away with their owner. So that's also
Mm.
something. Colin, just a minute. What is your Twitter handle, so I can also share on Twitter.
My Twitter handle is Collie Monster. So that's Colly and then Monster. I did share it out on our Twitter.
Oh, I got it, perfect.
You got
Okay,
it?
so I'm tagging you for the live.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I
So
got
so
it. Yeah.
let Colin, let's get back to you. So you're working corporate, decided to launch a Web3 project, and then what happened on the bear market? That what happened? How did the crash take place, and what made you decide? Uh, oh shit! I think this project, like what was the point where you say, "Wow, we cannot continue like this."
Well, one of the things that happened really is that we were a metaverse and NFT market, project, and we had a couple of NFT drops in the pipeline with some celebrities and things like that. But then when the crash came, the NFT market got obliterated and no one was buying NFTs anymore. Okay, so
Mhm.
that wiped out half the business model. But when OpenAI came along and released ChatGPT, all of the focus went away and it went straight into AI. And I looked at ChatGPT, and the day I saw it, I went, holy shit, this is the most transformational thing I've ever seen in my life. And really, I want to do this. And there was actually a buddy of mine, after I left that project, a buddy of mine came to me and said, I have this idea, I have this, tech, like metaverse tech for 3D avatars and motion capture, and I want to do X, Y, Z. And I said, no, mate, what you need to do is you need to get ChatGPT, plug it in underneath, and create a digital human, a conversational 3D avatar that brands can use as a SaaS solution for customer service and support. So we did that. So we jumped into it. It's called Reality Jam, and we built this product where it's a sort of cartoony like character, like one of the Ready Player Me guys, and then you can just talk to it and it talks back to you, and you can train it on your data so it can help with first level customer support and service and things like that. And it's brilliant, it's amazing. I really see that being the future. It's still very early days, and a lot of the solutions out there are somewhat sort of clunky, but I started doing a couple of other AI projects, and then I met my current founders, and I just love what they were doing. They were marrying the areas of AI and Web3 together, and that's why we're called Griffin, because the Griffin is the lion and the eagle sort of mythical creature put together. And what we're doing is bringing the world of AI agents to Web3. And I'm a big proponent of AI agents. I've been writing about agents for at least a year at this stage. What I always like to say is that AI agents are what are going to bring AI to life, because as remarkable as it is, AI right now, or ChatGPT, it's a box. You type a question
Yeah.
in and you get a text answer, and it is insanely amazing and remarkable in the ability to know almost everything. But that's it. It doesn't actually do anything for you. So what agents are going to be able to do is really, complete meaningful work. They'll be able to complete goal oriented tasks. You give them an overarching goal, which might be plan a business trip and book it all and sort all that out, or do research on this and put a business case together, or whatever it is. And a series of these agents will work together to go off to do the research. They'll figure out, they'll know you really well, they'll know your likes and your dislikes, and they'll put something together, and they can book things and spend money. They'll use applications, they'll problem solve, they use logic and reason. And very, very soon, I believe AI agents are going to take over software. Okay, because the way I like to explain this is that it was my birthday a few months ago, and I wanted to create a little flyer to send out to my friends to go, it's my birthday on Saturday and we're having a party. So I went into ChatGPT and I said, I want you to make me a beautiful image, and I want the Dubai skyline in the background, and I want a boat there, and I want Colin's birthday at the top, and here's the text at the bottom, and I want some fireworks. and 10 seconds later I've got my image, and then I make a few tweaks and I change it, and it's perfect, and I send it out. 2 years ago, if I wanted that exact image, I would have had to have been an expert in Photoshop and probably have spent many, many, many years learning all the skills needed, layer masks and different, all that sort of stuff. Whereas ChatGPT has taken that away, and by AI or an agent, you tell it what you want and it delivers it to you. And that to
Mhm.
me is going to permeate across software all over. So even when it comes to, I used to work in big companies and you're using all the internal software and it's very, very complex and you have to get training and you don't know how to do things. That'll go away. You'll tell it what you want to do and the agents will do it, and then it'll be presented. I believe that we're all going to have digital personal assistants that are AI that, sit on our computer, watch everything we do, and, just like a very good high-end personal assistant would, they'll make notes for you, they'll arrange meetings, they will, go and research things, they'll write up notes from calls, they'll update your CRM, they'll, build documents and business strategies and all of those sort of things. And I think that eventually we're just going to be like this, like a conductor of an orchestra of, like, 100 different AI agents, like you had 100-person team and you wanted to go and get things done, but really it's just for you. So that's why
Until you get an agent that is better at being a director at you, then
well, yeah, I mean, look, I put something on LinkedIn the other day, and it was Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, and he said, look, he goes, AI is not going to take your job, because it's not going to be able to do 100% of your job, but it will be able to do 50% of your job. So you'd want to be able to get really good at, orchestrating that AI into doing what you want. And a good buddy of mine, you might know him, Aragorn, he came in and he goes, I think this is misleading because eventually AI will be able to do all of your job. And I think that is definitely true, but it's probably a fair while away. It depends. I mean, Elon Musk said yesterday he goes AGI in the next 12 to 24 months. That's what he said.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's he said 2016 AGI. That's going to be a huge, huge milestone for AI, definitely. And I've had this
2026. Yeah.
discussion, yeah, and I have this discussion. Yes, yes, 2026. I had this discussion with a lot of AI experts as well, which is what happens after AGI, right? Are we
Mm,
going to just there's a lot of fears that AI will annihilate us, but I am
mm,
of the belief that uh, AI will want to keep us around, even though it'll be
mm,
able to do all the jobs that need to be done.
mm.
Um, but I don't know if we will still be the conducting force of AI in 10 years. Maybe they'll be just, they'll build this, they'll create this adult type Disneyland for us humans to
Yeah.
keep chasing goals and keep keep looking for stuff and having fun in this our own little economic world, while
Mm.
they do like the real heavy lifting of moving the world forward. But what do you think?
Well, okay. Here's the way I've always thought about it. The guy from A16Z, he says that AI
Uh,
is
and
no more
Anderson
likely to want to.
Horowitz,
Yeah, Anderson Horowitz,
Mark.
yeah, Mark Andreessen. He said AI is no more going to want to kill you than your toaster is. I kind of
No.
I see that as well. I mean, I've always said AI will appear to be sentient long before it actually is sentient. It will convince us that we're sentient because you can program it to do that. And we've already passed the Turing test. And it just came and
Yeah.
went, and no one made a big deal about it. Now, no one can tell whether it's a real person or not. Have you ever seen friend.com? It's like a personal chat bot that you can talk to, and they're very, very lifelike. So I think it's going to come. I just want it to be so much smarter than us, with better logic and reason, and not the crazy emotion that we have, so that it can go and fix a lot of the world's problems. Okay. And that's what I wanted to be able to do. And yes, maybe it will create this utopia where it knows what makes us happy and drives us
Mhm.
towards that. I mean, look, in the last 50 years, we've gone from a guy working in a factory in a normal job could have a nice house and his wife looking after the kids and a car and a reasonable lifestyle. Okay. And now everyone needs two jobs and, $100,000 each, or, you feel like you can't even survive. And it's just, it's not nice. And the way I look at it is I've always said that AI plus robotics, I believe, is going to bring in this new future where the cost of goods and services will decline rapidly because it will be like the Gutenberg printing press. Before that, books cost thousands of dollars because they were hand scribed by monks. And then the printing press comes in and it's automated and you can get one for like $5 or $10. So hopefully that will happen to healthcare, education, food, property, etc. Imagine a massive team of millions of robots building an entire new city or just new buildings for a fraction of the price. And instead of paying $1 million for a two-bed condo in anywhere nice, maybe it'll be 100K or something like that.
Mhm.
And everyone will be
Or,
able to
or
live.
it will be, maybe it will still be a million, but that will be insignificant because you
Hmm.
can program AIs to hopefully make you money in some way
Hmm.
that you seem.
Well, yeah, that is to me 100% what I like to say is that if you're worried about AI taking your job, then you need to learn to use AI agents to do either your job or set up a business. I personally think that the best way to insulate this is to have a business where instead of hiring employees, you can hire AI employees. Okay.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden you go out. If you want to sell something, you want to provide services, you want to do whatever the hell it is, maybe you have a team of robots working for you. I don't know. But if you do that, then you're insulated. If you just have a job at a big company, you're going to get axed, because I've worked for big companies all
Yes.
my life and I have very little confidence in their ability to protect their workers because if they could fire all of their workers to make an extra dollar, they will do it. That's what they will do because
Yes.
their responsibility is to provide more profit to their shareholders. That's it. I think the publicly traded company should die. I think it's a horrible model. And
Mhm.
I got made redundant from a company that I was working for over 12 years in. I'd literally moved country from Ireland to Dubai. The beginning of COVID comes in. There's a little switcheroo at some top management levels, and all of a sudden, sorry, your job now no longer exists. Chop. That was it. And I was out the door in the middle of
Yeah.
COVID, and no one else was hiring. So there's no loyalty from that. So you're kind of right. Is the best thing to do is to be able to have a situation where you're in control of your own destiny by utilizing AI to make you money. That's my
Yes.
best advice for
Yes.
people.
No,
But on
that's
saying
that's
that,
super insightful. Yeah.
yeah, I still also think that, what one person said, I can't remember, is that look, just what you said there is the cost of goods and services and things is going to go down so rapidly that maybe we'll be able to create a universal basic income. But it's not like, oh, we'll give you $2,000 a week, sorry, $2,000 a month, because who the hell can live on that? You know what I mean? But maybe $2,000 a month will buy you everything you need by then. You know what I mean? Maybe you'll be able to get an apartment and great food and healthcare and entertainment and all that sort of stuff. So working will be, natural. Now, there are two things here.
Working
I've
will be
always,
natural or optional.
sorry, optional is what I meant.
Yeah.
There are two things here. Some people think, well, work is what gives us meaning. And if you don't have meaning, you're going to go crazy and be very unhappy and not have anything. I disagree because it's most people are working not because they love the work, because they need to pay for, food and shelter, okay, and to get a roof over their head. That's why people
Yeah.
work, not because they love working in a supermarket or getting their ass kicked by their boss because they haven't made enough sales calls. So
Yeah.
imagine today, I said to a group of people, right, I'm going to give you $500,000 a year for the rest of your life, but you're never allowed to actually work a real job. Would they take it? Of course they would. What would they do? Well, I don't know about you, but I've got a ton of hobbies and interests that I would love to do. Okay. Look at the musical instruments behind me. There's my DJ console. There's my drums that I never get to play because I'm too busy working. I would love to do that. I love cars and motorbikes, and I like hiking and exploring. Oh, you got the serious stuff. Yeah, 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 yeah. There you go. um water sports, podcasting, writing a book. I would have
Yeah.
absolutely no problem occupying my time with really interesting stuff. Now,
Yeah,
I do know,
having a good conversation, connecting with other people,
connect this is it.
dedicating your time to your family
Mm,
without the stress of having to fight on your time versus
yeah. Or you know
to
what?
work.
Give back. Go out and help those other people who maybe are not having. And I have a bunch of younger people who I help out, who I mentor, who I've got a couple of, how do I say, people from faraway countries that earn very, very little money, and I hire them and I help them to get business and grow their businesses and things like that. I get a lot of, pleasure from that, and really helping them turn around their lives. So that's the one thing. Um, Others, however, say that, if you create a welfare state where people feel that they're entitled, that they just go a bit, bananas, and then they'll just start getting drunk and fighting, and all hell will break loose. Um, I'm not really so sure. I think the bad stuff, like a friend of mine was just back in the UK there recently, and he said it's not very nice back there, and people are really unhappy, and they're feeling really hard done by. But of course, it's going to happen when you can't afford basic stuff anymore, and you're working two jobs, and it's rainy and miserable and things like that. So if we create a better world for everyone, I think everyone will be an awful lot happier. And I do think that that'll happen. Um, there's a an article open on my screen here, and it's called "Machines of Loving Grace," and it's
Mhm.
from a guy called Dario Amodi, and he is the CEO of Anthropic. And it's a very large article that I
Right.
haven't finished writing yet, but he maps out a pretty interesting thesis for how AI will bring spectacular abundance and uh, happiness to our world and things like that. I
Mhm.
mean, the
Mhm.
one thing that I just don't think people have realized yet is the monumental change that is going to make when we have robots that are essentially extremely cheap labor. Okay, because
Yeah.
these robots are going to work out at around $1 per hour. And
Mhm.
if you had a team of migrants that were $1 per hour, you'd make sure that
24/7, no
that
rest.
24/7, yeah, that don't complain. You'd make sure your garden would be spectacular, everything would be fixed and organized in your house. I mean, in 10 years' time, cooking unless you want to, cleaning the house and doing those things will be the thing of the past. You know what I
Right.
mean? It really will be. It will be.
Yeah.
Now, I live in Dubai, okay, and it's not unusual here to have a nanny or a maid, and I have that, so I don't have to clean floors or iron shirts or cook if I don't want to, and it's an absolute game changer. You know what I mean? And she looks after my son while myself and my wife are working and things like that. That will
Mhm.
become the norm for everybody, and it's a complete game changer. I mean, the whole
Definitely.
thing is that we work to earn money to afford the things we want, but also to not do the things that we don't want to do. And that, to me, it'll lift us up into that stage. But if a government has 100,000 of these robots that can do anything, they can sweep the streets, but they can also fix the electronics, and they can, clean the windows. Our cities will be cleaner. They will be an awful lot safer because they can be essentially security men with cameras and stuff like that. Okay.
Mhm.
Probably crime will be lower. They will fix the potholes and build new roads and rejuvenate the cities and things like that, and take care
Mhm.
of the elderly. That, to me, I think is going to have the biggest ones. And coming back to your other comment there earlier about Tesla, yeah, the only two shares I own are Tesla and MicroStrategy, because there's a guy called Cern Basher, and he does this remarkable forecasting on Tesla. And basically, in less than 10 years' time, their robot business, along with their robo taxi business, is going to be so monumentally huge that the producing cars is going to be an absolute blip on their revenues. So they probably won't even bother doing it anymore. It's going to be minuscule.
No,
Um,
with the robo taxis, that's going to be still huge because those are going to
mm,
be self-driving taxis that are going to replace the whole business model of Uber. So I think that's going to
exactly.
be also
Yeah.
big. So they're
But
still
the
going to make cars, but
they're still going to make cars, but the profit that they make out of making cars will be minuscule compared to the money that they make out of the taxis. Because they already
yes.
have, what is it, 7 million cars out there on the road or something? I can't
Hmm.
remember. All of them can turn into robo taxis overnight. And then they'll
Yeah.
make the robo taxi at extreme scale because that is made to be pumped out at huge numbers. I've looked at the numbers. When it comes to the robots, they can almost double every year for the first few years. I mean, they'll
Wow.
literally go, they'll make 1,000 the first year, and then 10,000, and then 100. It'll just go completely bananas,
Yeah.
until they're making several, 100 million of them or something a year. And
Hmm.
they reckon they'll
Hmm.
sell them at $20,000. But what they're going to do is rent them out for most of them, and you'll pay a couple of
Yeah.
$100 a month. So it'll be like buying
Yeah.
a car on a lease or something like that.
Buy a subscription
But
for a robot.
it's subscription, but this robot will be able to do everything. Because once one robot learns how to do something, they all know. Or maybe they'll
Yeah.
create an app store, and
Hmm.
you will teach your robot how to make music there on your keyboard, and then you'll put that on the app store, and other people will download it. Probably it'll be more like build an extension in your garage or paint the walls or something like that. But
Yeah.
these things are going to be able to learn by watching YouTube videos. That's already happening, and they're being trained in virtual environments.
Yeah,
So
no, it's
I
got to be crazy. But that brings me back, Colin, to the subject of Web3 and decentralization, because although there we can paint a beautiful picture with UBI and all the robots doing the work for us and having a lot of cheap labor, cheap automatic labor, doing all the stuff that we don't want to do, so that we can do more of the stuff that we want to do, but at the same time, right? It's very important to consider who is going to administer those resources, who's going to administer that UBI.
yeah.
Because if that's going to be a centralized government, then the condition on upon which you're going to receive all these benefits is going to be your obedience and your compliance.
Mm,
It's not going to
mm,
come for free, and it's not going to come for your work, because all your work is going to be done, and it's not going to be now from your taxpayer, the tax money, because they can generate all the money now, but it is going to come from your compliance, right, from your obedience. So that brings us into, is this going to be a fully totalitarian regime, China like, where you cannot really go against the government or misbehave in some way, or you're going to have this social score reduced, and that's going to impact your way of life.
yeah.
Other And the only option we have for that is to have all this resources and agentic behavior from AI being also developed in a decentralized manner, so that it's not serving a single master. It's not biased into believing like some things that ChatGPT was on their biases, and it's also not being controlled by a single source of power, which that could also be very apocalyptic, right? You can think you're
Mm.
living a great life when you're actually just becoming the same cog in the machine, which we try to escape from the industrial area, right?
That's kind of the most terrifying thing about the whole thing. They're talking about this universal basic income, but then it might have an expiry date on it. So if you don't spend your money, it's
You
gone.
cannot save it.
Like, yeah, I mean, and this is why we need Bitcoin.
And with CBDCs, you don't only can put a expiry date on that money you receive, but you can also program it so that you can only spend it on groceries and this and
Mm.
that and the other. So you cannot even have some free will on what you're going to spend that money on.
Well, from what I've seen, any of the studies where they have given universal basic income, they've all gone very well. I mean, they gave it to a bunch of homeless people in Canada or something like that, and they didn't spend it on drugs and booze. They really spent it on good stuff. So,
Yeah.
um, look, I think like a lot of this, like how the future will, humans are notoriously bad at predicting the future. And as close as I stay to this, as much as I read and listen to, I'm still completely puzzled as to how it's actually going to pan out. I mean, there's some things that are kind of obvious, but exactly what it's going to look like is anyone's guess, really. It's very, very hard to
Yeah.
tell. Yeah, but I think over the last little while, and especially with COVID, etc., we've all learned what has been happening and what could happen when they take away our freedoms. And I think there will be riots in the street, and I think there will be massive pushback to any sort of state control there. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know what it's quite like in China, but I've heard that some of those rumors are completely, unbiased in terms of their, you can't do this, and if your social credit score goes down, you're not allowed to do that. I believe is extremely rare, but I don't know. And would a democracy put in the same sort of things as a type of country like China? I'm not too sure. So I think that there has to be an awful lot more noise made about it so that when it does
Hmm.
come, that we're all ready to step up to the plate and say, well, no, we're not doing this. But
Yeah.
CBDCs are getting the smackdown immediately from anyone. I mean, Trump has kind of said, I will not never allow a CBDC. Like I constantly ask people to call Bitcoin freedom money, because
Hmm.
then people can understand it. And I don't know why they don't do this, because there's one thing that American care about more than anything else, and that's all of their freedoms. And if Bitcoin is freedom money, and they'll kind of understand that it's not centrally controlled and it's permissionless, then they'll get on board. Whereas if they did bring out a CBDC and put some sort of rules around it where you can only get it if it's this, that, and the other, it would be ridiculous. But then again, I think if there was a CBDC, it would have to be programmed in from the very beginning that everyone gets it no matter what. If you murder a bust load of children, you're still getting it, because that way we would have to absolutely know that they're not going to use that to control us, or that it only works buying groceries, but you're not allowed to buy red meat this week because you had some last week. Those sort of things are completely and you see what's happening in Holland and in the UK. I mean, what's happening in the UK right now, they're trying to put this inheritance tax on farmers.
Hmm.
Farmers might have
Hmm.
a farm that's worth several £1 million, but they only make 30 grand a year from it or something. And then they're trying to save as an inheritance tax. You might owe 400 grand, but like, where the hell am I going to come up with that money? So, you're going to have to sell the farm. And
Yeah, it's like taxing on realized gains.
yeah, it's never, I, I think, I don't know why they ever brought that up, because never in a million years will that happen. Never in a million
Mhm.
years. And I don't know why even some of the Democrats did that, because no one
Because
wants it and it doesn't make sense.
they're socialists and that they want to strive for equality of outcomes, which
Mm,
is the most ridiculous and most dangerous notion that'll drive us, that'll drive humanity into submission. Right? There's a
mm,
big difference between equality of opportunities, which we all should
mm,
strive for, and give
mm,
everyone a fair chance at striving, but equality of outcomes means everyone's going to get the same regardless of what their skills are, what their abilities are, and how hard they work at it. And that is going to be super destructive to society, because if I'm getting the same money that the other guy's going to get, why should I work more? Why should I make an effort? Why,
mm,
right? So I think that is super dangerous, and that's a lot of what the socialist, communist politicians are striving for, and that's becoming an increasing theme. It's
mm.
becoming an increasing thing, and I think a lot of the DEI movement, diversity, equity, and
Yeah.
inclusion, is like striving for, right? It's like you
Mm.
have to have a certain amount of all races within your workforce, regardless of the talents that you may
Oh,
need,
yeah.
and it's like
I think that
it's
thing has kind of
ridiculous.
died a death now, to be honest. I think a lot of
I
people have
hope
gone,
so. I hope
you
so.
know, no, that's, I mean, the whole Google thing, you know, when the Google AI was producing pictures of George Washington when he was black and things like that
Yeah,
is
Gemini was woke, the
yeah,
woke AI. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
I
I
don't know. I don't know if that's going to go away. I'm definitely thinking that with the Trump election, the pendulum's going to swing the other way. So I'm hoping that that gives enough of a blow to this whole woke movement and the woke mind virus, as
mm,
Elon and calls it very appropriately. I hope that serves as a good vaccine for humanity, but I don't think
mm,
there's gonna go away, because a lot of people are super, like, they took that as either their religion, and a lot of people are now have their incomes and their livelihoods depending on that narrative of DEI. They have this DEI experts in every company, and they're still trying to push forward.
well, the way I would look at that is clearly Elon Musk and Trump are going to rip that out of anywhere, and it's going to become somewhat sort of unfashionable. I mean, Elon is right. We do have to make sure it's a meritocracy. You know, people have to
Yes.
be given the job based on the fact that they are the best person to do it. I mean, I'll give you an example. Out of all the big companies I've worked in, you know, I saw a little bit of it, but not that much. But apparently, in the last few years, it's gone mental. I've been in Dubai 6 years, and you know, you don't get so much of it over here. But I called a buddy of mine who works for one of the big companies. I better not say who, and he
Mm.
said to me, he goes, you know, I've really peaked in here now because I'm a white, straight male with a family who is Irish. And that's, you know, I'll never get another promotion because they're just not going to promote me because a woman will get it, or a person of color, or LGBTQ, or something like that. And everyone above me is one of those things. So I think what he said was, he goes, it's gonna come back on them because it's when the times are good. And in, you know, I've been in software an awful long time, and it goes through these waves where times are good, and everyone's making loads of money, and all the, you know, the customers are buying and things like that. But when that changes, and all of a sudden we come to hard times, then all of these people that they put in these positions, not because they're the most skilled, they're the most experienced, they've had the best results, but because, you know, for DEI they're getting it, then all of a sudden the business will realize, oh, holy shit, you know, we've got shareholders to abide by. We don't have the right level of talent in here, and that's going to come back to bite us. So probably some of that will change somewhat.
And so don't you think that that is going to play in with, like, the mother of all recessions? Like, I imagine, let's paint now the picture, right, to try to summarize, like, where we're going with on both Bitcoin, Web3, and AI. Like, there's going to be a massive influx of capital into all things scarce, so Bitcoin, and then I do think we're going to get this sledgehammer of liquidity into good utility altcoins. Hopefully, that's my hope, but I do see this coming, even though they're not getting any love from the investors right now. But anyway, I do think that we are going to see this massive bubble of assets with, like, call it the Trump bull run, or
Yeah.
the 2025 bull run, where everything bubbles up. And imagine, like, MicroStrategy's stock going super parabolic, which is already going now. And
Mm,
then I think the crash that we might experience from that is gonna be like a super massive bubble explosion. I do think that crypto
mm,
might have its dot com bubble thing right after this year, and I don't know how this is going to look like, but I'm certain that 99.9%, if not 100% of memes are going to just go bloop. Like,
yeah.
they're not they're
Yeah.
gonna probably all go up in thin air, and most of the crypto projects as well. So I don't know how that's gonna look like, but it might look like an implosion either Tether of USDC. There's always being fought about around that. But I'm just
Well, we
trying to
better
look
hope it's not
ahead.
Tether, because if Tether collapses, the entire crypto market is dead. I mean, some people have been calling that a Ponzi for years. I'm not so sure. I think it's got enough liquidity that it's going to be fine. Um, but you know, I would hope that the meme thing just goes away. Maybe it won't. I don't know. I mean, like kids who grew up playing Roblox and buying Robux and spending their parents' hard-earned money on digital, items doesn't make a lot of
I
sense
know.
to an awful lot of people. But that's the world they grew up in, and they grew up in the world
Yes.
of memes. You know,
Yeah.
like many,
Yeah.
many years ago
I
when blogs were still a thing, I used to have a blog. And I remember when I discovered memes, I wrote an article on this blog about memes. What are they? And showing all the different ones where people had never seen them before. They were all kicking off. Okay. But now
Mhm,
they're
mhm.
just so incredibly ingrained into our culture. The richest and most
Yes.
powerful man is tweeting them out on a daily basis. You know what I mean? They are built into our keyboards in our messaging apps. They're everywhere.
Well,
So,
they're a proxy for attention, right? And attention
mm,
is what's driving not only like mind space, and it's what's driving the capital, because that's what
mm,
all social media platforms are striving for. They want your attention,
mm.
right? And memes, when a meme gets attention, it's all over the place. And now it's the kid did this rock. There's a Quan coin, and everyone, it's instant. It's everywhere. It's in X. It's in LinkedIn. You see it on every post. Everyone's making a thread of it, and then 4 to 24 hours after the fact, it's a culture. It's in the culture. Everyone knows about this, right? It's what we started talking about today,
Mm,
and it happened yesterday.
mm. I know, I
So
know, it's absolutely
so
crazy. But
memes is a proxy for attention.
I do think that the market is due to mature a little bit. I mean, I I've been in crypto since 2017, and it still has a lot of problems in how complicated it is, and they're too focused on the tech and not focused on the problem that they're solving and providing a better user experience. That's where AI comes in, and that's where I think AI is really going to solve a lot of those problems. So to come back to my project right now, Griffin AI, we're a platform for developers to build, a host, and monetize AI agents on chain. And AI agents are going to be the next revolutionary wave in technology, I think, because they bring AI to life. They make it actually do things and complete meaningful work and do tasks for you. And that to me will hopefully bring a level of maturity and uh, help projects achieve their goals in terms of making a better customer experience, help their customers get onboarded, do things like make sure that they're going through the journey and help when they need it. And that's what I'm kind of excited about, is because these agents are very, very powerful. They're going to be able to work autonomously and together and use logic and reason and problem solve and really fix a lot of the issues, so that we can bring in the next billion users into Web3 who just are not technically minded and don't really understand how it works. Because what we
Yeah.
want for them to be able to do is just go, right, well, I want to do this, I don't know how to do it, but the agent will do it and then I'll get it done. And so it's
Yeah.
like thought to results via AI agents, and that's basically what Griffin are trying to achieve.
So let's get into that. So what are you guys building with Griffin AI? To tell us the elevator pitch idea.
Well, pretty much as I just said there, my founders have been running a digital assets exchange in Switzerland for quite some time, and they wanted to build some AI agents to help their own customers. But they figured out that first of all, there is a huge amount of underlying infrastructure that has to be built to make an AI agent actually be able to transact on chain and work in a blockchain environment. So they built
Hmm.
that as a project so that other projects can come in and now just build AI agents that natively work on chain, or port a Web2 agent onto Web3 and just make it work seamlessly. And then we're going to have a marketplace whereby any person in Web3 or any company can come and peruse the different dozens or hundreds of different agents and take one and then easily integrate it into their own application. So it's all B2B, it's white label. And we have one
Hmm.
agent that is like ChatGPT for your wallet. You connect your MetaMask or any other wallet, you talk to it in natural language. So you can ask about past transactions, or when did I get money from this address, or how, who sent me $150 on Solana, anything like that. Then you can send tokens, swap tokens, integrate it into your address book, but you can also do things like bridging, which can be very tricky for people, or even staking, and it'll do the research for you to find the best place for me to stake my Ethereum, etc.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that to me is that we're just building the next generation interface for crypto and DeFi. That's kind of what excites me about this.
Yeah. No, it's truly amazing. It's truly amazing. And so, how are you guys? How are you guys going to the market? Like, is there going to be like a Griffin AI token? Are you
Yeah.
guys doing a more of an AI play?
No, we
How
have
are
a
you guys
token.
going out?
Yeah, we're going to have a token once we fully launch the Griffin IO token. The purpose of it is you stake it to run the nodes, and then there's a transaction fee on purchasing the AI agents, etc.
Hmm.
But what we're doing is we're going out to a bunch of the very big L1, L2 projects, DeFi's, platforms, etc., and showing them how our AI agents can help. So, say for example, with Cardano, we've just received a grant
Hmm.
from Cardano, and we're building a system with AI agents to automate their governance process. So you're aware of how
Right.
Cardano works. Everything is governance, and it's always, how do I say, it's always
Yeah. Everything's
proposals
voted
and then
for.
review and
Yeah.
feedback and all of that sort of stuff. So it is an interesting portion of the business, but it's very laborious and all that sort of stuff. So we're using AI agents to automate that, and then we're working with many others to just integrate our AI agents to help their customers have a better experience. And that's really where we're going. I got to
Hmm.
run in a couple of minutes because I have another call, Hernan, but to sort of end on that, yeah, please do check out Griffin AI. We got some really exciting stuff coming. And honestly, I truly believe that AI agents are the next revolutionary wave in technology. 2025 is going to be huge, both from a Web3 and a Web2 point of view. We've got Google bringing them out. We've got, Anthropic. You're even going to see Apple. They won't call them agents, but they will be there connecting Siri, etc. Technology is about
Yeah.
to really start taking off into a level where, the sci-fi style of getting things done for you back in the 70s and 80s is finally coming true.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on all your forward-looking insights, Colin. Colin, where can people follow you, get access to your content, and read your posts?
The best place is on LinkedIn. So Colin Fitzpatrick, Griffin AI, search for me on LinkedIn, but I'm also on X. I post occasionally there. But yeah, please do follow us, and I would love to connect.
That's amazing, Colin. It's been an
Awesome.
absolute pleasure to have you,
Thanks, Hernan. You too.
and
Great speaking.
thank you, thank you so much for all your knowledge, your insights, and I'm looking forward to doing a part two, and we'll do it live again. I think it's a good experience.
Let's do it.
All right,
Absolutely.
Colin. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Hernan.
Have an amazing end of
Hey,
your week, and continued bull run.
awesome. Thanks so much. Speak to you
All
soon.
right.
Bye
Bye.
bye.